Coming in hot.
Oh my goodness. All right, and we're live. Yay! Better super late than never.
Right. Well, thank everybody for joining us on the yard sign tonight. We have some special guests with us today and some really great topics that we'll talk about. They're all pointing that I am not looking at the right camera.
Yes.
Hi.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, there's one up there.
I'm just going to yell throughout the whole show.
Johnny doesn't have his microphone today, so I'm standing in. So I am Jody. Thank you for joining us today. And then we'll go around the room and introduce you to everyone else on our panel today. So let's start here.
So, Jake Hoffman, I'm the president of the Young Republicans, which is kind of this podcast, and then I'll pass it around to everybody else.
Hi, my name is Aníbal David Cabrera, treasurer of Tampa Bay Young Republicans and treasurer of Florida Federation of Young Republicans.
Hi, I'm Michelle Sassouni, and I'm just a member of the Tampa Bay Young Republicans, sharing today, joining in.
Hi, I'm Amy Beck. I'm the secretary of the Manatee County Young Republicans, and I came out here to join the Tampa Young Republicans for this panel today.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, so it's awesome. So
We're starting off strong. This is going to be a fun
I'm
time.
not sure.
So Jody's supposed to be host today, everybody. We're going to see how that goes.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's going okay, but you guys keep laughing every time I say something.
Today should be a fun time.
All right, so we have a lot of cool topics to talk to you about today, but let's start with Aníbal's attic.
Oh, we're starting with my...
Might be like drop off immediately.
It's a rant. Oh, get it out the way.
Why don't we start with an interesting topic?
Yeah, let's start with one of those.
All right, so does anybody have a suggestion on an interesting topic that you want to start off the show with?
Yeah, so the main topic that I think we're going to have to talk about today, because we're 2 weeks in between podcasts, so a lot happens in 2 weeks, and the biggest thing that's happened in the past week or so is that we have the U.S. women's national team, and Megan Rapinoe, and the captain, and her comments or remarks towards Trump, and then her actions during the game, after the game, and just generally the issue there, and then kind of brings it to a bigger topic because within the same 2 weeks we also had Colin Kaepernick who basically told Nike not to release shoes based on that Betsy Ross flag and all that, and that happened all within the past 2 weeks. And so it kind of brings the bigger topic here of athletes speaking their mind on political topics, and general discussion about that, and then we can kind of get into the specifics as well about those topics.
I think the first thing we can say is that we're all very excited and very happy that the U.S. won. The U.S. women's team won. I think everyone's pretty happy. It's a great win for us and great for the sport in general. I think what's occurring now, it's allowing for larger conversations about equal pay and talking about their rights for free expression and everything else, and as long as someone gets their technology in order, we can move forward. And so...
Well, the thing I wanted to say about all this, though, is that the biggest message I want people to take away is, don't let one person's actions take away from the U.S. women's team winning the World Cup. That is huge, but don't allow that to distract you from what's happening here. Congratulate them. Don't boycott the team or America or anything like that just because of the fact that there's one person on the team that's kind of ruining it for some people.
So I think what's difficult is that I think at least for most of us, we could say that we are happy that athletes have the opportunity to speak their minds and use the platform to do something, do something great. Is there an issue? Oh, okay. To do something fantastic and speak out on these really important issues and use their platforms for good. With Megan Rapinoe, I think the problem with what she did is twofold. One, she wrote an article for the Players Tribune saying that the reason why she was taking a knee was for specifically to stand, essentially kneel with Colin Kaepernick and say that the police, lack of police accountability, police brutality against specifically minority Americans, Black Americans is wrong. However, then when she goes out there and takes a knee when people ask her the questions, she's been talking about equal pay a lot. So then it's like she's turning it into this broader issue that is really, so it's like it's not that she's staying on one point, she's moving to different issues. So then when people see what she's doing, they think she's doing it for the LGBTQ community or equal pay, and that's not what she initially stated or what the initial cause is. So then people have a lot of different issues and it gets confusing. And then also the bigger issue with her, I think, and everyone can agree, is when you see her drop the flag. That's when you go, okay, come on, like you can take a knee, but when you drop the flag, that's like you're just being disrespectful.
And it's almost beyond just her dropping the flag too, because I think that to me, everything that she does just has a nasty undertone.
I agree with that.
Right? And
Yeah.
so it's not just the flag, or it's not just the things that you say, and it's not just the way you act, but everything has this really nasty, disgraceful attitude behind it. So I think that if our athletes are going to use that platform, that they really need to use it the right way.
But remember, it's never been normal for athletes to take on this kind of initiative when it comes to political activism while they're on the field, while they're doing their job that they're getting paid for. Again, we can have that conversation about how you shouldn't be doing it because you couldn't do that in your own day-to-day job.
Right.
I couldn't wear a certain kind of a shirt when I'm at a client's meeting, or be very proactive activism in the middle of a board meeting. But they have the platform, they can do it, it's free speech, let them do it. I don't have a problem with any of that. But again, it almost diminishes what they're trying to do as they try to make it more of an issue.
See with Megan Rapinoe, she just took a playbook. She just took a play right out of Colin Kaepernick's playbook of that extremely progressive left tactics in her 15 minutes of fame. She is a lesbian in like the best country in the world that has allowed her to become a millionaire and famous off of her skills and ability, which is not something that's given to other women in other countries. And that, I think, is what's taking from that. Is she's complaining about what? That she's a millionaire, that she is able to capitalize on her skills and become relatively famous and kind of be looked at as a hero. And then she is twisting this and kind of portraying this world message about equal pay and stuff like that. When she is on her own, I think it was Rachel Maddow's show, when she's on there saying, well, if you want us to get paid more, buy our stuff, buy our tickets, buy our jersey. That's basic economics. It has nothing to do with equal pay. It's based off how much revenue you're generating. It has nothing to do with equal pay. If you're at a store and your gross net is $100, the next store's gross net is $1,000, yes, you're going to get paid less. It's not about equal pay. It's about how much you can capitalize on your skills.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I just want to kind of go back a little bit, and one of the comments I see all the time when this kind of stuff happens is that people go, oh, well, the athlete shouldn't be saying that. Like, it's kind of this shut up and play ball kind of thing. And I think that if you're going to do this kind of, if you're going to have the platform and a million people follow you on Instagram and you're an athlete and everything like that, like, I'm actually all for them using that platform to do that, because everybody that's on Facebook right now, we're doing it right now. We have like a couple hundred people probably that are watching, and we're taking the time to go and give our opinion. And if you have a Facebook and you've ever posted something political, even to your 200 Facebook friends, you're using your platform to express your political opinion. And I think that, once you get to that level, I'm okay with them using it for a political opinion. What I don't like seeing is when it's disgraceful towards the country as a whole, especially when it's not targeted, like you guys are talking about.
Especially when you're on a team representing a country. You're not on the
soil.
Delaware
It's a huge
team.
deal.
You're on the
I would
American
slightly
team.
disagree with you on that. I'm based on like private property rights. Now, this isn't really wrapped in with Rapinoe's situation, because the IFA didn't come out and say you cannot do that. But if you want to bring in the NFL and Colin Kaepernick, the NFL is a private organization. I cannot come into your house in the middle of your dinner and kneel on your floor and be like, no, it's okay. I'm just protesting. It's the practice of freedom of speech of protesting the anthem or whatever, because you could call the cops and you can have me removed. Same with the NFL. If they tell Colin Kaepernick he cannot do that, this is not your platform, this is our private property, if he wants to work there, he has to stop doing it.
But they never did, and that wasn't a rule.
He's no
They
longer.
could, but they could.
No, but the
But they
NFL told him that he couldn't do that. They told him he needed to knock it off. They can do that. They're not infringing on his.
The NFL never explicitly said you can't do this. They might have said we would prefer not.
Yes.
But they
you
I guess
infringed
the
on
point that I was
a
just-
platform for a freedom of speech, but like. in a private sector like the NFL or the IFF, they can't really do that. They can't say you're infringing on my freedom of speech.
Some
on
teams-
my
some
private
teams
right.
go- coaches were
it's
okay with
it's
that,
not so much
too.
about freedom of speech, it's that I think that a lot of times people, even if like LeBron James does it a lot, right? Like he'll go and tweet something out onto his followers, his like 25 million followers or something like that, and people will give him the same message, which is like kind of like shut up and play ball, like we don't want to
Like
hear your
Laura
political
Ingraham
opinion.
said, shut up and dribble.
Yeah, and you hear that kind of stuff from people, and I'm just saying that where is the appropriate place to do it is another conversation, but the fact that they're doing it, I just don't like it when people automatically shut them up. And like their opinion doesn't matter, and just because they have a platform that they're a team that they're not allowed to talk about, I just don't like that. Like if you
Well,
take
I
the
think
time
their
to
opinion matters. It's just a matter of where you're delivering it, right?
So-
Like our opinions matter. We can do this on this podcast and we can say this, but
Sure.
I cannot go to work and have a meeting and in the first 5 minutes just get on my platform and tell people what my beliefs are, right? And I think this goes back to a couple years ago. Tampa Bay Young Republicans did an article, and we kind of addressed this when the Kaepernick thing was starting to happen, right? And so I think it's great that they have a platform and they do have followers and they should be able to say things, because not everybody's saying bad things, and let's remember that too, right? So there is a platform being used for the better good, right? And so I just think it's a matter of when you're working and you are actually working and you are accepting awards and you are winning a game for a country, that you probably shouldn't be trash talking it at the same time.
well, I do think it's embarrassing to a
very
country
embarrassing.
that
Remember,
And I think when you're on the national team versus a private team, like you said, like it's not like she's on a Delaware team. If you're on, like I think
You're
on
the
a private
US
team,
team,
yeah,
yeah.
the U.S. national team is different than I think like an NFL team or an NBA team. I think there is a difference there. And I was going to say that just when you mentioned the letter, I remember a few years ago, Jake asked me to, kind of look over it and, just glance at it. And I said, personally, I don't actually agree with that. And I don't have a problem with players taking a knee. And my thing with that is I understand this topic always comes up with people saying, well, I couldn't do that at my job. I couldn't go in and just do that. Well, that doesn't mean, though, that they shouldn't be able to. Just because you can't do something doesn't mean that other people automatically should.
But that's a
get that
norm,
same
right? Like
fairness.
that's a norm across the board, because your workplace should be something separate from things, right? So that is
Yeah.
their workplace, right? And so it's like that's just a norm. It's not that like my boss doesn't let me. It's just that that's a norm of society.
But their bosses do let them.
But
and
their bosses
are okay
don't.
with
They
it.
caused a whole lot of problems and issues, and they
then
do
at the
have
end,
rules.
the
on
NFL.
it.
Some-
he did get
And he doesn't play ball
He
anymore,
doesn't play
right?
ball anymore.
well,
doesn't.
that's more of a
Yeah.
well, I actually do. I think the NFL does blackball them pretty hard
Yeah.
when they so
Yeah.
they face the repercussions of their
But
actions.
then the
actions,
NFL,
yeah.
but the NFL then lost a lawsuit for it. They lost the suit to Colin Kaepernick. So they said you couldn't tell him he can't, like you couldn't just blackball
What
him after the
lawsuit are
fact.
you referring to? Because I didn't hear of a lawsuit.
He won a he signed a multi, or they didn't say the amount, but he signed a undisclosed amount of money with the NFL.
That was going to be
See-
donated to a nonprofit.
Oh,
It's for collusion.
Yeah.
Yes, he signed.
Okay,
he,
for collusion, but not infringing
not
on his
for-
freedom. The
No,
NFL
no.
doesn't guarantee him his right to
no
do that.
collusion, but but he's saying
for blackballing.
He's saying that because I
Okay.
took a
Because he couldn't
knee, you
play.
blackballed me, and then they sued
Okay.
the NFL, and it was found that the NFL did collude.
Sorry,
So-
I felt like it wasn't clear to me. I thought you were mean like he was suing them for his right to
he
kneel,
doesn't have
so.
he doesn't have the NFL doesn't guarantee
Yeah.
that you're gonna have your First Amendment right, but they didn't have a rule for it. And here's the thing that I have an issue with too, is that the NFL didn't even make players come out for the national anthem. That wasn't even a norm until after they started the campaigns with the troops. After this was after 9/11. And you can check the record on that. They didn't have them do anything for it, other than I think during the Super Bowl.
So you think that's justification, like just because they didn't do it before
But
that
they didn't have a rule. So if they didn't have a rule, so I guess here's my thing. I'll pose the question then: if kneeling during the national anthem is not okay, what kind of protest do you think a player could do, or is it not okay to do anything on work time and to use that platform that you have? If you're going to be on TV for 4 hours on a Sunday, when is the right
Okay.
time to
You do it
How
with
do
your
you
personal,
protest?
your personal
Colin
platforms, not your
Kaepernick
work
was kneeling
platforms.
because he was protesting brutality against minorities.
Yes.
Or he was protesting brutality against minorities from the police
Yes.
officers. It would have been more advantageous for him to have gone down to the police station that was 5 miles down the road and kneel in front of that and protest. Not in the NFL. Not when people are paying money to watch this or paying tickets to go see this. There's a time and a place for everything. He was using that just again to earn his 15 minutes of fame. It hasn't. And to what? Okay, so you want to say that he could use it as a platform. How much awareness do you think it actually brought to?
We're talking about it right now.
We're talking about kneeling.
Well, really,
Yes,
and really
and
it
I
started
agree
with
with that.
the U.S. soccer team is where we kind of went through,
Yeah.
right? It just ended up back at Kaepernick because we.
I'm just mad at Megan Rapinoe now. guys.
Yeah,
I'm mad at Megan
we're just
Rapinoe. I mean, I think that like.
Well, I guess
I don't think
what
that's
I
right
was going to say is
from
what she said is that how much attention did it really bring? Because we're talking about the kneeling. I agree with you that I do think that a lot of times people get angry at the kneeling and they get mad at the protest because they don't really want to listen and talk about the real issue, which is police brutality.
They're watching
So what
football.
was-
They're watching
They're-
football on a Sunday with their families. They don't want to even think about politics. They just want to watch sports. They use sports as a way to get out of their environment, out of
But then-
working
so-
60 hours, 50 hours a day, and to watch this person that's getting millions of dollars to do something that the majority of Americans think is disrespectful, and let that happen. It does anger a lot of people. It does annoy a lot of people. Does it annoy me and anger me? Not really. I could care less what this person is doing. If anything, I would rather want the soccer player to I want them to talk about equal pay. I want them to talk about the issues they're having at hand, but I don't want it to be in the middle of the game. I don't want them to distract on what's happening or talk crap about the president.
So,
when
I
they're foreign
guess
officials.
my-
Is that because that's because you want to unplug? You want to, you personally are like, I don't want to think about politics. But for these black players, they're like, they feel like I can't turn off being black. I don't get to choose not to.
It's not-
There are
it's
plenty of
not just
athletes
black
that
either.
have large nonprofits that go into the communities and they do great things that actually
You're right.
impact.
But
The
you're-
problem
that's
is,
why the NFL
and
started
and
the
that's-
My Sneakers, My Balls thing.
And if Kaepernick had those organizations behind him, if he was doing that while he was not, before he started protesting, it'd be a completely different conversation. But he took the
didn't.
spotlight because he wanted to figure out a way, after being raised by two white people, he automatically assumes that the white man is the devil and has made this decision to go in the direction he's going to. If he had the background that he was donating, he was contributing, there are hundreds of other players that I would take much more respect for if they did what they did.
I will agree that Colin Kaepernick is not the right
By the way, me
place.
and Michelle got in an argument for like 2 hours earlier too, like totally distracted about this whole thing.
Yeah.
And like, one thing we kept saying is that Colin Kaepernick like probably should not have been the face of this.
He
There's
shouldn't
so
have
many
been,
other people
because
that are
no,
better
yeah,
face
he
of that.
gave
Exactly, because
Right.
he's protesting police brutality against minorities. I mean, what is he protesting? The black president at the time, the black attorney general at the time, Loretta Lynch. Like, what is he protesting an administration that was in power and led by minorities for 8 years, and then at the end, that's when he wants to protest police brutality by kneeling, setting off a catastrophe long chain of events that affects today.
So I mean, I do want to go back to Michelle's original question though, which is kind of like, so if I think we're kind of mostly all in agreement though about like we don't want to see them kneeling during the anthem and everything, but when do you think that people should appropriately protest or voice their opinion if they're an athlete and they want to use that platform?
I thought it was
Yeah.
usually
On their
during
personal
no, but
platform.
not even that. I thought it was always during the press junket. I always remember comments or conversations being had at the press junkets where you had the athlete, the press was able to ask their questions, and then that would have the tug back and forth.
And Richard Sherman did an excellent job of this when because they were playing the 49ers right when this like started, and he came out and he spoke and he said he wasn't gonna. He said he just wanted to say his speech and then he was done. But yeah, he went out and he made his point and said that essentially police brutality is horrible, it's really bad, and that he thinks it's bad and he doesn't want to. But he doesn't want to distract from what they're doing, and I think that the Seahawks.
And I think that kind of goes to the fact though that you want. I want to hear them discuss the issue more than I want to see them take an action over the issue.
Exactly.
I want to
And-
hear what the private corporation's policy is behind kneeling.
Well, they had a very.
They don't
fluffy
have. They might not
policy.
have a policy today,
Yeah.
but if it happened today, they can make a policy for it tomorrow. I mean,
That
look
was
at-
the solution
look at
that we
the
came up with,
NFL,
like, a couple years ago.
Rankings, ratings, they tanked after Colin Kaepernick
Yeah,
did
they're
that,
coming
and
back
now
up.
FIFA, where they're begging for
Yeah.
equal pay, they're
not
politicizing
gonna
it.
get
Now they're not
their
going to get it
popularity.
because instead of just coming back and being like the U.S. is the best, they're dividing us, and you're going to tap out 50% of your audience.
This
right off the bat.
is one of my biggest problems with like Megan Rapinoe's approach to all of this is that I hate it when people say like, I mean, her quote is, I mean, I don't know if it's a family show or not, but like, you know, I'm not going to the effing White House. I don't like it at all when people take the approach of like, I'm not talking about this and I'm not going to go talk to the president. And like, I know I'm going to get invited because we're going to win this and I'm going to be able to sit down face to face with someone and express my issue and possibly come up with a compromise and understand their side and their side. But that's not what you want to do. It's like, you want to just throw it all to the side and be like,
To say, I'm not going to deal with
you
it.
know, we're not doing it.
Yeah,
And I'm not going
stance here.
and I feel really bad because the reason why she's getting praised, I mean, she's been on Kimmel and, you know, all of the different late night shows and everything, getting kind of paraded around as like a hero. And I don't, it's because she took that approach of saying like, I'm not even going to bother talking to him. But if she would have said, I want to go visit the White House so I can talk with Trump and make, you know, my suggestions, she would have gotten chastised by the left.
completely
And I find that really terrible.
Yeah,
And-
Yeah,
and-
that is absolutely
and while I'm saying this, and then I'll turn it over to you guys, is that Ray Lewis and Jim Brown, as soon as Trump took office, they met with him, and they got lambasted by the black community, by left, by the Democrats, and they wanted to say, like, look,
Harvey did too.
and same with Steve Harvey too, and he said, I wanted to sit down and I want to talk to them. I want to be in the room and have a conversation.
Steve
and
Harvey has a great story about it. If you go, I'm not going to repeat the whole thing, but if you go,
Yeah,
and
you can
look
find it
up,
on Facebook
He has a
somewhere.
great story about talking about it and how Trump actually made.
Kanye West.
Yeah, he made actionable, you know, improvements to community centers.
He
Steve
like
Harvey was
made
working
him.
with.
He didn't make
Like,
him
the
the
next
head of
day.
HUD, but he almost made him the head of HUD.
Almost.
Just going to talk
And
about
I
it.
don't
Yeah.
want to bring this up, but in regards to what happens when you actually you play the card that you're given. If you have the platform and you win the global the championship, you have the opportunity to go meet and talk to the president. This happened with the Kardashian. Which Kardashian was
Kim
it?
Kardashian.
Kim
And
Kardashian.
Kanye,
And
Kanye made that with him
that's
too.
the logic of this. If you have the platform, you have the 20 million people following you.
Use your platform the
Use
right
the
way.
platform. Get in front of the people that can make the decisions. And she's like, I don't care what party it was. I need to get this woman out of prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now, instead of her getting villainified, she's being praised about the
Exactly.
decisions that she made on both sides.
Well, yes and no. I think that from the left, she's getting a lot of hate for even meeting with him, and the fact that we posted a picture as
It's true.
DBYR,
James and West.
and we were getting a ton of hate for the fact that people were like, what is she doing at the White House? What is this going? I mean, there's a lot controversial figure, I guess, but the people don't like it when, I don't know, people sit down and try and compromise and figure out solutions. They don't like that.
People
Yeah.
want to fight. People want to
Yeah.
fight the whole way through, which is probably another reason why people don't like Trump to begin with, is because
He doesn't really fight with you.
He doesn't
about
want to
it.
fight with you in those things. Like, there's a reason why we haven't gotten into a war with Korea or with Iran, is because he doesn't want to get into a fight. He wants to negotiate it out and get us through this. There's a lot of issues with the detention facilities. No one's done anything about immigration.
Do you want to transition
Well, I was
as it
gonna say,
relates-
I was going to have one more question on this.
We started talking about the left, and actually I thought that would be a good segue either into breaking into AOC and the break in the Democratic Party, or the ICE detention and asylum rules that Trump is doing.
AOC's fun.
Yeah, she's a fun topic.
I mean,
we like
I feel like
having
we
it
give
up?
her too much time.
Yeah.
I
like
mean-
not just us, but like the media and stuff.
I think that it's not just AOC though. I mean, we've talked about
what's the name of
they're
that?
in crumbling.
What's the name of that group?
the fresh face,
The fresh
faces.
Oh, the
Fresh
fresh
Faces.
The Fab
faces
Four.
of the-
they're
We're probably going to lose all their seats in the next run.
I don't think they're going to lose their seats.
You don't think
necessarily.
any of them are going to lose their seats?
Maybe some. I don't think all of them.
I think the one in Michigan will lose.
Maybe.
Omar.
I don't think. No, I don't think she'll lose because she's.
That's not who her base is.
She's in,
No, she's in Wisconsin.
no, she's in Minnesota.
Yes,
and
you're
in
correct.
Minnesota, they have actually she's in a very heavily Muslim district.
Oh,
Oh,
she
I
got
don't
there,
think
yeah.
she's
So I
gonna
don't
get.
think
I don't think
she'll
she'll. I don't think she'll. I don't think they'll flip the seat blue to red. I think what's gonna happen is
She's
the
gonna lose
internal
the
fighting
primary.
that she's gonna get primary. That's what's gonna
I
happen.
don't think unless another Muslim runs because it's so heavily popular.
I'd have to look
there.
and see because
My Muslim-
It is a very highly populated Muslim area.
It is.
But I mean,
So it's just
another,
that you're
but
gonna-
she could still lose her seat if another Muslim
that's what I'm
ran.
saying,
Like,
yeah.
a Muslim man ran should lose her seat.
Oh, you're right about that.
In the
You're right
heartbeat.
about that.
I'm not commenting.
I'm not commenting either.
I'm touching
I know. I agree with that. Like,
But I will say, it's so funny to see how the Democrats are dealing with their internal fighting, whereas the Republicans dealt with theirs in 2012, where the creation of the Tea Party and the buildup of how the party leadership was supposed to deal with that. And it handled it pretty well. The Freedom Caucus came up, they were able to build out and then coalesce and be able to stay a party, where I don't see that's happening with the Democrats. I truly feel the breakdown of the party.
Ben Shapiro put it best. They're getting high on their own supply of this cocaine identity politics. It's there to the points where now Kamala is accusing Joe of being racist. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is saying Pelosi's racist. They're hitting each other with this. They're eating themselves alive, which is wonderful. Let it happen. Out in the public, let them fall.
It is funny to watch all of the Democrats basically call Joe Biden Joe Biden has to defend himself as not a racist for the next year. And that's that kind of sucks. As the vice president during Barack Obama's term,
who's not getting any love from the Obamas. No love for from the Obamas.
And support
they say that she has. Michelle made the comment that she has no comment. When they asked her, and she said no comment.
That's not helping him.
She basically just drank tea and just
See, I think the problem is that they don't want to admit it, but the Obama administration was a complete utter failure. And Joe is tied into that because he was the VP under him for those 8 years. And so he doesn't even want Obama's endorsement because it was kind of a failure that kind of spawned the Bernie Sanders.
I don't think that hurts in the primary.
No, it's the primaries that we're trying to fight.
But, they're already split. You've got these people that are going to go for Joe, and there's people that are going to go for, Warren and Sanders and all of them. I don't think Biden's going to win his primary.
I don't think. Well, it's 19-1 right now. That's why.
You know what? If it was
By the way, John, we need to look up how many are left.
I'm looking it up right now.
No, we dropped one and we picked up one.
Yeah, we're even again.
I don't think that
Nobody
counts.
wins.
I don't think that counts.
We lost one and we picked up one.
I think it's going to be between Kamala and I think it's going to be between Warren.
I agree with that.
Do you think they're actually
I think
going
Kamala's
to do it
gonna
again?
give Biden-
They're going to give another female an opportunity?
Mm-hmm. Or Kamala was
Pocahontas
she set
or-
a very strong Biden-Harris ticket by her attacks on him on stage. She's a very good politician, you guys. She's over here talking about for the immigration, about how inhumane it was, yet the roundups are going on for years and years.
Do you guys want to talk about immigration now? Do you want to move into that?
And before we move into it though, let's go ahead and just thank everybody for your comments that you have on the Facebook post here today. We've got a lot of people watching, so we appreciate that. Thank you very much. And then if you have any questions or any additional things that you want to put in there, just know that we are watching. We can see your comments, and so if you want to say
we
something,
are watching.
We'll share some of those.
And if you if you do want to get more involved, then definitely come out to our TBYR meetings. And Amy's here right now, and she's from another YR club in another part of the state, so we are happy to bring guests on the podcast. If you sit around and watch us and you're like, man, I want to go yell at everybody else over there because we don't agree with them, we would love to have you on the podcast. This is only going to kind of grow and expand and hopefully get better and more organized.
Yeah, we want to show it.
That's just a general
shots fired.
Well, I am also in shots fired. I am also a part of this. So it is a group effort. But Johnny, you want to?
Jake is the reason we were running late, by the way. I just want to make that clear.
Was it because it took him forever to get ready?
Jody wins the bet.
He won the bet. He was late getting groceries done.
Oh, yeah.
It was pouring.
And
it
you
was
had the
pouring.
grocery shop?
I wasn't planning on getting poured on the way out of the grocery shop today. So
Because it's not Florida in the afternoon on Sunday.
because it would all melt, right?
it all melted.
It all melts. I can't say that there's so much product in my hair.
Johnny, do you have comments for us or anything that we need to go over before we go into the asylum
I
stuff?
would say if you can, pull up some of the comments from the people watching.
Do we?
So I am following on the actual yard sign one, and so I do just want to say, Mike Norris, you have very nicely been giving us information about the contracts with the NBA and the NFL. Thank you very much.
Mike
We appreciate
Norris.
it. I have been eyeballing that.
Should
which
say it out loud.
contracts we were.
We don't have an information team that feeds us anything. So
You
we
guys
just
are
kinda-
our
We don't have anything in our ears. We don't have nothing in
Yeah.
our ears.
So he does say that
You
the
have a
NBA.
laptop in front of you.
I'm looking stuff up.
Oh, this is just to look smart. This is not.
This just covers
doesn't
the
work.
belly.
All right, so let's
What did
keep,
he say though?
let's keep
Oh, so
going
he
now.
did say that the NBA does have a policy requiring their players to stand for the anthem. So
Well,
the
the
NBA has a
NBA
policy.
had, the NFL did not have.
Yeah.
it.
Well,
The NBA
then he
did.
introduced one, and
Yeah.
then he.
Well,
But
they
he
solved
said
the
that
problem.
the NFL does have a policy against items that are or actions that are detrimental to the team.
That's a
which
very-
is
yeah, broad
probably how they
interpretation.
were
Yeah.
able to kind of blackball Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Whoever thought like
So thank you guys, we
Betsy
appreciate it.
would be so controversial?
The American flag is
Oh, yeah,
controversial.
that's,
and
I don't
it's
Oh,
understand.
on the shoes.
I don't
It's tough.
understand. It's
That whole
you're
thing.
pulling on
and what I'm
strings.
trying to figure out is why Nike even listened to him. What difference does it make?
That's what it's like.
Well,
When
this
does
is
Colin
my
Kaepernick
question.
become your
CEO.
Soul, yeah, your CEO. Like he's not Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan
He's
said
no
something.
Michael Jordan.
That's a big difference. He's Air Jordan. You
Well, he
do what
owns like half
says.
the company.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You bow to Jordan, not Kaepernick. And I will just say this with the shoes. If you're a company and you're putting something out, or you're a person and you're doing something, you should be confident enough in what you're doing when you're putting that out there, that if one person comes up and says, hey, I don't think you should do that, you should go, well, I thought about this a long time.
Went through
I
research and
went through my
we
research and I
decided-
think
we
this is a
decided
good
no.
idea. Let's go.
See, I
Like,
bet you with Nike, and this is the same true with media organizations, whatever city that they're in is usually typically blue and typically very left-leaning and progressive. They kind of get blinded and
Oh,
think
yeah.
that that's because that's what that city is.
Definitely.
Everyone must have that opinion. I bet you anything, Nike, the reason why they're sporting Colin Kaepernick is because they're stationed somewhere in California.
They're in
New York.
Oregon.
Well, that-
No,
I-
Oregon isn't it? There you go.
Yeah.
And that's why.
I will say this though. On the other flip side of this, if you've ever seen like Urban Outfitter fails, like
Oh
like,
my God,
some of them are
those
just
are so-
so bad. You're like, how on earth?
They had one that said, it said manifest destiny on it. Like, what? How? Just you're just gonna wear that around?
I remember
Like,
one that looked like a jumpsuit from the Holocaust, and I'm like, how on earth did this get to through production?
There are some mistakes. So the corporations obviously make some mistakes. But
What I was gonna say
It's
about
homeless chic.
Yeah, but leading into them being like, which one did you want to go to? Did you want to go
Jump.
to Ice?
jump us over there, host.
From here, I'm just trying to move us along because we
Yeah.
are 35 minutes in.
Yeah.
I tried to move somewhere.
Caesar Hernandez is watching. He wants us to talk scooters.
Let me tell you something. We love scooters.
Oh wait! Don't say we. Don't use the word we.
love the scooter.
Don't
I
use
love
the word.
it.
Say I love the scooter.
No, we love the scooters.
No,
Everyone
no.
loves the scooters. If you go downtown right now, there's
they
a
have
scooter.
scooters
everywhere.
Oh yeah, they're literally they are everywhere in shrubs.
that's part
in
of the problem.
corners.
Right,
it's on top of lights. Like, yeah, they're everywhere.
No,
if
the
you're
scooters are
wearing
great.
6-inch heels, you need to get somebody somewhere like. Those scooters, they come in clutch, so thank you.
All I'm going to say is I have talked to some people on that board. I am very excited that the new models of scooters coming out are big man approved. Because the original ones were not big man approved, and I got a little offended, Caesar. We need to make these changes. We're both on the same
And I
boat.
think-
And Caesar's a big guy.
And
too.
Caesar's a big guy. And like I fear you're wrong. God made me who I am because that's how we're going. And God knows my conversations with gravity are not really the best ones. So if something goes wrong with a scooter, I'm gonna have an issue with that.
We're fast and painful.
I was gonna say the biggest issue people have to complain about the scooters is that they're everywhere, and I would hope, and I'm surprised that they haven't come in and implemented this. I know there's some companies out there even working on it, but basically just charging stations.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
you would think that
Yeah.
they'd have to get put in a charging station, and the city has to obviously work with them to kind of be like, okay, every 6 blocks or so there needs to be a charging station, like kind of like a Tesla stations. I mean, like they're.
I'm not gonna bring a scooter back to a charging
And
station.
you're also isolating one company to be the main source of
No,
the.
no,
you
I
have
don't think you-
multiple.
I don't think
with
you
the
need-
bike situation was different because you could have different bikes and different companies. With the scooters, now you're saying that every scooter has to have the same charging to be able to
plug.
But how plug?
A plug with outlets.
Not every electrical vehicle has the same form of plug. Also,
Yeah,
Well,
but
they
then
need
you
to
see
get on the-
phones. You either have a Samsung or an iPhone. Like,
Yeah,
the
they-
3 different
Yeah,
options
Android.
for Android, or 3 different options for plugs and
there used to
everything
be a lot
else.
more.
There- no, there's
You have to
there's
think
like
though
one
that there's
now.
one vendor that's putting out these one things of scooters. So
Yeah.
imagine that the scooters from
No, there's
one
like
vendor
4.
could
There's
have
like
the same
4 or
price.
5
Yeah, there's
brands
different
out
vendors.
there.
Yeah.
4 or 5 kinds or 4 or 5 vendors.
No, there's 4 or 5 vendors.
There's
All the
they
scooters
all
are
the
different.
same? Oh, they're all
Uber.
okay.
I think the idea
don't
of
have a
having
plug on.
base stations makes a little bit more sense. I like the idea of scooters. I love the idea of using it. I'm not going to use one myself because I enjoy air conditioning. And so, but
I enjoy
I
air
truly
conditioning,
believe the fact that you should give people options to be able to scooter, to be able to do whatever they want. If it bikes or do whatever.
Scooters are the future, guys.
Scooters are not the
This
future.
30-year technology is
Scooters
the
are not
future.
going to get. Scooters are not. Scooters are
but-
a solution. Scooters will not
No,
get
they're
you
not
from
the- they're
downtown
not.
Tampa to
Oh, they're not.
USF.
They are not.
But they're a good
Yes.
last mile solution.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that idea. I love
when
that
you're
idea.
in heels, they are perfect.
They are-
but they're not. They are not going to replace a car. Let's
They're
be clear.
a wonderful nightlife Mechanism when you have to go bar hopping. I will say I'm from Bradenton. We don't have anything like that. And I remember I went to the Adam Sandler comic show a couple weeks ago, and we just saw one like randomly like parked on the corner of a thing, and we're like, that looks like a bait scooter that they're like, waiting for someone to come and snatch it up. And you're gonna have like people mass pile them and arrest them.
And can we talk about scooter courtesy? Like, how long? Because when we were in Washington,
this is actually a full debate, guys. There is no etiquette right now around the scooters.
As a southern state, we need to have these things.
We need to have this conversation.
Because when we were in DC, we were going to the monument, and there were like scooters. We couldn't find one that was available, and there was just
hundreds of dead scooters. Biggest problem they have, guys.
Yeah, and there were scooters just sitting there, like, but then there would be people that had like left them, and they were still
here's really the issue, guys. So I came across 4 scooters, all available, right? And maybe Caesar, I want you to comment and let me know that if we're gonna, if I'm getting this right, what the etiquette is here.
Watch the TBYR.
There's 4 people hovering over the scooters. Now, on the app, they were available, but there were people basically hanging over the scooters. So you have to like book it and basically take it out from under them. And they were kind of reserving it, because if you reserve them, then you're paying for that time, right? And then you can't go on the app and also reserve the scooter at the same time as somebody else has it reserved. So there's an etiquette there that's built in. But what happens when somebody is not reserving the scooter? They're not paying for that time, but they're like hovering over the scooter.
Like, they used it, they turned it off so they could do whatever they wanted to do, but then they're like, they're standing right by it to like hop back on and be like, oh, well, I rode this one here, but I don't want to pay while I'm standing at the awning
so taking my pictures. Scooter police.
So there needs
to be etiquette. There needs to be etiquette. And I even had somebody that said, please don't take my scooter. I'm just running up there real fast.
And then they wanted it right back.
And they wanted it right back. Yeah. So, am I a dick if I'm like, no, I'm taking the scooter.
You should just be like, go on, I'm not going to take it. And then once you're gone, you just take it, go off.
No, and etiquette needs to be had. And I think this is a great conversation starter to get people under the understanding of like,
this is the important issues in this country.
What is the etiquette?
The deficit is the important issue, but I'm not going to get there.
Do you guys have any more on scooters, or I'm going to move it to Eagles Attic?
No, let's move on scooters.
Oh!
So etiquette.
So we saw that Topher Morrison got pepper sprayed in an altercation with a truck driver.
Although he was walking, I think.
No, he was on an electric wheel.
Was he on it?
He rides like a wheel, I think. It's
wait,
like one
there's
wheel. It's like
a wheel?
No,
yeah,
I thought he was on his bike.
No, they have them. But anyway, so the point is that it's a pedestrian versus car thing, and there's an altercation. He got pepper sprayed. So Topher's been a friend of the TBYR, so we want to wish him well and hope they find the person that did that to him.
Yeah. And we just, let's point out, guys, that like road rage.
It was?
Like, let's share the road. Let's use the bikes. Let's use the scooters. Let's know we're not.
And pedestrians have the right of way.
Like always.
Are scooters considered pedestrians?
Yeah.
It's like a bike.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a bike.
Like
And so while we're supposed to follow the rules of the road on a bike or a scooter, as a person driving a vehicle, we need to be more careful and cautious of those people, because there's going to be a lot more people on the road on these little scooters and the bikes, and we really need to be more careful, and we need to make ourselves a more mobility friendly city. That's a big deal.
I do hope that they are able to use the cameras around the city to be able to find the person that actually did that, because that's a big deal. It's one thing to honk, it's one thing to be aggressive, but it's a whole nother thing to like spray someone in the face.
Yeah,
and that's a whole.
That's assault.
That is assault.
It's assault, like right off the bat.
And that's something that definitely needs to be talked about. Again, we've known him for a while. He's a friend of the organization, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
It wasn't assault. It was a pepper spray, not assault.
I don't know if everybody can hear Johnny's joke.
This is the reason why we took your mic away.
So speaking of taking mics away, Aníbal, do you want to go off on something really boring about
Aníbal's
international
attic.
politics?
I don't know why it's considered boring. I think international economic development is a really interesting topic to discuss.
It's fascinating.
It is. I mean, the trade
just as fascinating as race relations in this country. It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, so to hard transition from that one. I will say that the trade war between China and the United States is starting to heat up, but we are seeing the trade war take its effects with the Chinese economy going down quarter two to 6.1 or 6.2%. It's the lowest it's been in almost 25 years. So we're pretty excited about that we'll actually see a resolution of that pretty soon. I'd say in the next month or two, I do see them coming back to the table to discuss that. But the fun part that happened in international international waters this past week was
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the United Kingdom,
the Coast Guard.
the United Kingdom taking out like an entire tanker from Iran. I thought that was great, and it showed like, hey, we don't have to be the bad guys. The other white countries can be the bad guys.
Warfare, fantastic.
I'm not
Yeah.
touching that either.
And
That's a good approach.
and so that can finally that someone else takes the initiative to be able to do that. So I think that's a pretty funny one on that end. And then a Coast Guard. I know Coast Guard jumping on a drug submarine.
That's badass.
Oh yeah, that was
was
something
awesome.
cool that happened in international waters.
Yeah, that
And
was
so-
really
Totally
cool.
passed over my joke that a lot of fun things happen in international waters this week, but it's fine.
It's like the new Vegas.
So I think a lot of things happened over the last 2 weeks in regards to international politics. The whole Korea thing was a big deal. Iran is a big deal. China's a big deal, and those things will get resolved on their own as we progress. But I still think the whole drug enforcement situation in regards to, I think also like $1 billion worth of cocaine was stopped. I don't remember where that was.
On
taken.
JP Morgan Chase's ship.
Oh yes.
Yes, that happened.
You guys want to talk about it? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
There was so much drugs.
$1.5 billion.
It was insane, and it's a ship that's owned by JP Morgan Chase, which is like even better because
I think the word "owned" is being used very loosely, but yes, continue.
well, however that worked.
Financed.
I just financed, yes, that makes more sense. But I just thought that was like the best thing ever.
Can you imagine
I
JP
really-
Morgan has a division for drug smuggling?
Well, I mean, it
some
makes
VP
sense.
in New York is going to
Somebody's
get
making
fired.
money.
They're out there all Jamie Diamonds, like, no,
Guys, we
Yeah.
are so
We can
far
stop
off
naming,
the
stop naming.
topic.
Yeah, we're-
We have to stop
Okay.
Eagles Addict now.
We are
It's
so-
that's so
yeah,
far
Okay,
off
Needles
course.
Addicts
of
over.
anything that anybody cares
So,
about.
all right, so
if you
let's
care
go.
about
Do you wanna
Eagles
do
Addict
Area
topics,
51?
please let us know.
Yes, I
Thank
thought it was
you.
a really good conversation. I mean, we had a lot of drug situations.
I thought that amount of drugs and money on that ship
So
were just
let's
outstanding.
let's talk about something that people are really talking about and is super important. Area 51.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Guys, people are going to storm Area 51. People are probably going to die.
I just don't understand why they put a date on
If-
the
let me-
invite.
I'm gonna say that. Wait. I'm gonna
Back
say
up
this
real
right
quick.
now. If you. Honestly, this is the whole conversation about let's have drugs legal for a year and see what happens.
This is the-
I
This is the experiment.
honestly think
This is for
allow
me.
it. Yeah, not even that. My wife was like a year, a day. Let drugs be legal for a day and see what happens. No, I think we should allow this to happen.
mean, we
we
have
should
it in
allow them to
Massachusetts.
storm Area 51 if
Let me
those
back
people
up,
that want
let me
to.
back up, because if you're not somebody that's a millennial on Instagram right now, like our
Yes.
base of people who are like actually in the RHEC or something like that,
Yeah.
like they're actually like 50 or 60 years old, they have no clue what we're talking about.
There's-
Like the internet is going to storm Area 51 in like a week or like four days. I think the
Is it
17th.
I thought it was
September?
September 20th.
Oh,
I think
that's
it's
too
like-
far in the future.
What is it? 500,000
But-
people have agreed to do it on
It's
their
it's
event.
over half.
Yeah,
Of,
No, I
It's
thought
a
it was
million?
Like,
I think it was
million
over a
people.
million
I
people.
think there's
yeah.
like yes, half with going and half interested, but we have to give thanks to the wonderful memes that have popped up.
Half of them
The
are
memes
true.
on
have been
Facebook that is the
outstanding.
best thing from
Yeah.
this. It has spawned so much.
That and all the
Yeah.
snaps from the
laughter
celebrities.
and-
Now, listen, if that's a platform you want to get on as a celebrity or an athlete,
Now
by
go at
all
it.
means, storm Area 51
So-
with the
Take
full
millennials.
advantage
So
of it.
while it's really hilarious, let's be seriously. That the last time somebody tried to storm Area 51, and the guy that actually started the page said, "I started this as a joke. Please don't storm Area 51." The last time somebody stormed it, they were shot.
Oh.
So the government really does. They just have already released the same. The Air Force said that they will protect Area 51
But you
by
can't.
all
But this is the problem.
The hashtag.
You're now trying to tell the internet not to do something,
Yes.
which
Yes.
means that it's gonna
It's gonna
happen.
do
Remember,
it.
like the
Gonna do
point
it.
of it was they can't stop us all.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the point behind that. If there's a million of
Let
them,
it happen.
Also, if you-
Let it
That was
happen.
their plan.
that's the
Let it
same
happen.
size of our military.
Let it
Also,
happen.
If you believe that there's aliens or whatever you think is there, like you can't deny that there might, like you're gonna cause yourself bodily harm by going in there. Like the nuclear waste just alone is gonna get these people. Like it's a ton. Like that's
Yeah,
it's
if you're
not
anywhere
okay.
close, if you go anywhere close to that, like you're in like hazmat area for
You
like
are- they have
miles
signs
out of that.
all
So then, is
around
this
that
really
area.
a healthcare situation that we need to be having this discussion?
No,
Because odds are the people
We're
that are
not going to cover illegal aliens when they
Wait, what
We're
kind of
talking about aliens.
aliens? Yeah, what
Yeah.
kind of aliens are you talking about? Like 51, Area 51 aliens.
I was
Okay.
a double.
Or are
Like-
technically the same.
Yeah.
all the memes about like bringing your alien home and your alien dog and your alien
Jake, you went there.
girlfriend.
So many Florida men.
So many Florida men.
Storming Area
just
51.
not
white
too
beater,
good.
Oh
white
my
beater,
God.
and
I think it's worth a couple
Smoking
people
Wait,
getting
wait,
shot.
I don't know.
couple.
Guys, all right.
If this was Florida, it would happen.
Let's
It would
bring it.
happen.
Let's bring it down just a little bit. So, a couple weeks ago, we had a bet on how many Democratic primary candidates were still going to be left. How many people are shot or die during the Area 51 raid?
Oh, that's way better than the
I
Democrats.
say one. I'm gonna put it in
One?
now. One.
I say 5.
I say 3. Are we going best without going over?
Not just best, closest. I think it's going to be.
It's not like Price is
I think
Right.
it's only gonna be one. I really do. I think these things get really
I think
like.
there's
And
two.
also, I think it's
and then
two.
it goes down.
Guys.
I don't know.
Like it's gonna
I don't,
die
I
down
don't
after
think
a while.
I don't. I think they're going to bring
I think
in
it's
like
zero.
riot control stuff for the local sheriff's office. Start
Okay,
hitting
well,
them
how-
with rubber bullets.
What about
and-
arrest? How many arrests do you think?
Oh.
there's gonna be then?
It's 100.
Plus 100.
All right, so let's do
Depending on
arrests.
how many people show
how many
up.
arrests are there during the Area 51 raid?
I'm gonna say at least 100.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say 2 dozen. 2 dozen people get
24.
arrested because I only think 22 are showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 48 because the other 26 just got lost.
Okay. Shall-
I'm gonna go closer to Jody and say
saying-
like 16. Like
I'm gonna
16
go with
people.
8. 8.
Eight?
And
Man,
we're-
now I'm the guy that goes
Okay.
over.
Who's
I
keeping
would
track of
agree
this?
with 48.
John,
No
To
one.
our
No one
fans
is.
out there, somebody write
Please
this
hold us
down and
accountable.
send it to
No,
us.
Yes, please
and
hold
to
us
our-
accountable.
To our fans, write in, leave a comment. Let us know how many
Yeah, how many people are gonna get
you
arrested?
think
Yeah, what
get
you think.
arrested.
Yeah.
And also let us know, would you sign up to storm Area 51?
Or have you already?
Oh, how are you ready? Are you
Remember,
Are
the
you
government
really?
is watching this feed.
Yeah.
So.
all right. So let's move from aliens to
Aliens.
Let's do a little happy
illegal
birthday to you.
immigration.
Oh,
No, we can do that at the end.
At the end. So let's talk a little bit. I've let you guys kind of take over some of the new asylum rules that are going into place right now or being reintroduced. Do you guys want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so clearly we have a problem.
Doing great, Jody. Keep it up.
This is just my normal.
This
This,
is
is
why
not.
we- this is
This
why
is
we're
not
bringing you on.
hosting. Yeah. So but clearly we have a problem, right? And there has not.
Wrap it up.
been-
Let's go.
Yeah, but there hasn't been any action yet, and so I don't know if it was yesterday, today, whatever. But so Trump reintroduced an existing law that is part of the asylum, is that you're supposed to seek asylum in the first safe country that you hit. I don't know if safe's really in there, but you're really supposed to do it in the first country that you hit. And so now what they'll do is they'll no longer accept asylum at the southern border. They expect them to get it at the countries that you walked through to get here. And so I am very excited that there is just anything, to be honest with you, just anything at all being done, as well as the deportation and the roundups of people that have been ordered to leave the country already that haven't.
We actually have someone downstairs just in case the office gets raided. I mean, we don't know. The way the media spins this, it could happen to anyone. And I think that's something that's very important that we all realize, that the media is definitely not communicating the legitimacy of
I know
what's happening.
we've given a lot of videos for everybody to go and watch and after this, and viral videos that are going on right now, but one of the great viral videos from the past week is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talking to the ICE director.
Yes,
And-
that has
Past-
been an outstanding.
Nailed
And
it.
past-
He nailed it.
And he basically just like shuts the whole thing down because she was going for one of her viral moments where she teaches somebody a lesson and like he just wasn't having it, and she like looked really dumb. And it's a great video. I don't know. It's probably on a ton of Republican.
We can do the
meme
link.
pages.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I bet you she truly believes that those legal asylees that are, being held from child separation, being held in detentions, truly are going through it the legal way. She probably doesn't realize that like you have to go through a point of
She
entry.
doesn't realize a lot.
truly
She doesn't
believes it.
realize a lot.
So let me just speak on the whole that you're supposed to seek asylum in the first country you hit. So Obama actually, during his presidency, he gave Mexico millions of dollars to try and more enforce these laws and to stop more of the illegal immigration. Some of the problem with that, though, is that Mexico, when they're going through the asylum process, when you get into Mexico, the Mexican government only has, and you can fact check me, but it's literally around 12, I think 12 offices or something like that. They only gave out like 12 actual asylums. They only allowed 12 people to get it.
Because that's
And they
all
only-
that's legit.
No, but they only have like one asylum office, and they've had like I think thousands of cases that have come through and people that actually did file. The other problem too with that is that So, well, just that they're understaffed. They're not filing the papers. The government's also has been corrupt there and has known to take people in and then kind of send them back out and knowingly let coyotes take people.
But why does Mexico's lack of resources become our problem? We have a lack of resources here as well. I mean, we have a backup. The detention centers are full. So why? Because Mexico doesn't have enough resource, does that become our problem?
We give them millions a year.
Yeah, they have the money to do it.
Mexico is not
Is
doing
the
their
corruption.
job.
That's the problem. Is Mexico's corrupt, so we give them millions of dollars. They have a problem with corruption, but does that just mean that we've always been the country that has said, okay, send us your poor, your hungry, your huddled masses. When other countries, whether it's been the Sudan during Darfur and or their civil war, or or even Syria in recent years, and Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, even back then, we've taken in asylum seekers. So now we're deciding to
No.
We have
no problem taking asylum seekers.
We're still taking more asylum seekers than any other country in the world.
Yes.
This country gives more money to refugees and to other organizations than any other country in the world. We're not stopping them from coming in.
But we're significantly increasing
want
it.
them to go through the acts of portals correctly.
But
And
when
this is the problem, and this is what people need to understand. They are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to these coyotes to get them in.
Yes.
It's the misinformation that the media and the Democrats and other people that are giving to these people that are trying to come to the United States. Just get over the border, you'll be fine. No, you will be arrested because you're breaking the law. Because the only way you can get in this country legally is to go through the ports of entry that are allowed for you to go through. You file for asylum. You get put into detention centers, and then you get
It all
released.
comes back to the fact that we need major reform.
Yeah, that's
of
what
the
I was just
asylum
about
process.
to
Oh,
say.
absolutely.
No one's arguing that.
See, I don't even know if we need reform. We just need regular enforcement of our laws that are already on the book. This whole entire Trump thing with asylum, that
It
has
exists.
already been on the book. It's just about enforcement. We're not
But people-
enforcing
okay,
It's-
so
our
the thing-
current thing. And to touch on your send us your hungry, send us your poor, that was before we had social network platforms in place, where now if you flood our borders with immigrants that are taking advantage of the social web that we have in structure for our poor and our sick and our weak, you create places like England that have really, really high taxes because they can't support this fabric of all these people coming
They're in, like,
and not
Sweden,
contributing.
Finland,
Yeah, that's why
Netherlands.
places like Sweden that have these really high.
And I don't think
But I think that's why we need, again, a better process of getting people that are trying to come here illegally into the system, because we want them to pay taxes. We want
Yeah,
but our- if our
exactly.
country
I
doesn't
agree.
do all those
I
things
agree, but I
happen.
think
And
the answer right now to get to that reform is to enforce our laws that we have right now, and they're on the books, and then figure out what the reform is. What we need to do is we need to shut off our borders, figure out who's here, and if they contribute to society. If they contribute to society, then they can stay. If they don't contribute to society, they need to go back home.
The majority of immigrants that come into
contribute.
this country
No, some of them
are
do and some
a
of them don't.
majority of them are contributing. There's a reason why they're rounding up people now, is because those individuals were
Are
not
those are the
contributing,
ones that
and
they
those
have
yeah,
already
and
been
and so
ordered
this
to
is
be
and
deported.
this is the conversation that needs to be had. We are a country of justice and laws and everything else. It is inhumane for Democrats and other individuals to say that we should not be counting people. It is inhumane because those people are being mistreated at the job that they're working at. They're being paid less than minimum wage. And until we allow these people to come out of the shadows and get registered and get a green card, they are going to be abused the entire time. Human trafficking is such a big problem that no one's talking about. Almost 30% of couples of people bringing with children over the border illegally are not their parents, and so that's my bigger issue with this. Everyone is so everyone's so up in arms about separating children at the border. You get separated from your children if you commit a crime. You get separated with children immediately. I do not care, and I feel that more money needs to go to those detention centers so that those kids are not in the inhumane facility that they're in right now. But I would rather them be in a facility that they're getting fed 2 or 3 meals a day than them going into the system when it comes to human trafficking. And that's a big problem. I don't care. 30% is huge. I don't care if it's down to 10%. A child going to human trafficking. We are America. We have the money and the resources to make sure that person that's walking in with that child is family, blood, relatives.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, Anibal, too, because I think that one of the things that we lose when we talk about immigration is that we aren't recognizing the children that are separated and removed from their parents every day right here that are American citizens, that are in bad foster homes or bad situations or bad group homes or juvenile detention facilities. And we're making this seem like just an immigration issue when the reality is you're right. The minute I break the law, my children are removed from my care. So when you come into this country illegally, you have broken our laws, and you cannot be upset that your children are being removed from your care, especially if we can't verify it.
The only thing
We're
I'll say is that
removing
you
children
do
now,
want
and
to
they
make
can
sure that
be
they do have
verified.
the right amount of supplies that once they are. You
Yeah.
don't want people treated inhumanely.
Oh, I'm sorry. Has this not been something that we've been talking about for 12 months that the president's been saying? And then Democrats have been
There's too many coming in to keep the resources
never
there.
allowed us to get the money that's needed to make sure that this was going, that we had the facilities at hand. Again, we've all been talking about this for almost a year now.
Yeah.
And now to say that, we don't have the facility. Of course, we were never going to have the facilities. We had 100,000 people cross the border last 2 or 3 months
We
ago.
don't have the money for the facilities.
We do have the money for the facilities.
just can't get it
Here's the thing, is that
approved.
if we
We can't get it approved.
Yeah,
get it
well,
approved.
because I think the thing is that Democrats don't want to have the money go to these facilities that they feel are inhumane, but it's why can't we put that money towards doing like actual reform, a big sweeping reform that
Oh,
we
no.
talked
Democrats
about.
don't want to give a win to the Republicans, and now we're
Yeah.
in midterm. Now we're in.
Yeah.
Well, at this
the
time,
midterms
but
were
that's-
bad. Now we're in the
but that's
actual
what's-
full
but
blown
that's what's
election.
frustrating about the whole
That's
thing,
what's
though, right?
frustrating is that
Oh.
anytime you say why can't we actually negotiate a bigger, change this? So Democrats talk about changing all these other institutions that we have, Medicare for all, this and that. Why I agree. Democrats need to say, hey, we need to reform the immigration system, not just we need to open our borders, we need to let all the illegal immigrants in, we need to like I said, like take your poor and huddle masses, but that's with the statement of I think there needs to be a system in place. We have technology now. We can actually, at every person that gets to our border, if they came through, if we had checkpoint stations, like the way that Ellis Island registered everybody,
Which we do.
If the
We do,
second they
yeah.
get there,
We
they-
have those things. They're not using them.
but I'll say but then we do need to enforce it better and make sure that everybody registers. If they register before they come in, and the reason they don't is because they're worried that once they get through the border, they're going to be kicked out.
No. They're trying to get caught because they know once they get through the border,
Yeah.
they get to stay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's they're not being kicked out. When they get through the border, they will not hold them more than, was it 7 days, 14
And they're-
days? We did this 2 weeks ago. So it's 7 to 14 days. If you're with a child, they release you into the United States. They do not
with a
hold you.
promise to appear.
Yep.
And
And
then
your
these people
appear could be 2 to
disappear.
3 to 5 years.
Yep.
They're trying to not. They're trying to get caught. They go
Because
over the
again,
border
but
and they
that's a
flag
reform-
down
that's a-
border
but that's a-
patrol.
those are specific rules that need to be reformed in
Yeah.
our system, right? There's
Yeah.
specific laws that need to be reformed. But again, like to
they're
everybody's
not
point,
using the
but
ports of
nobody-
entry.
But nobody wants to actually tackle the issue and solve it before the midterms.
Well,
No.
Or
No,
before
it's
the
not
election.
gonna happen
No,
for
no,
another
of course
3
not.
years.
Because there's
Yeah.
one political party that is viewing this as a potential future voter base.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
any kind of, like, instead of just saying, like, yeah, there is a problem at the border, this is what we're going to do, we're going to kind of come up with some comprehensive reform law, they're just lighting themselves on fire and screaming that everyone's a racist. If you disagree with me, you're a racist, you're a racist, you're a racist.
Well, then I
That's
guess-
their only reform,
Then I guess
really.
why don't we as Republicans, we should be looking at this as a potential voter base as well. We should say, hey, we can put a system in place that we can figure out a way that we can, have more asylum
Encouraging
seekers,
legal immigration
encouraging legal
instead of-
immigration from Central America, and say, hey, if you get to the border, we'll let you apply for asylum. Maybe we'll hold you, here until that asylum. But we need to speed up the asylum process. That's the biggest thing that needs to happen.
we have an immigration system in place.
But it's broken. It's terribly
It
broken.
really
We
isn't
all
broken.
know
It's
that.
not
It's not
enforced.
enforced.
That's the problem. It's not
not-
broken. It's
But
not
No, but we
enforced.
all know that if you have more money and
Well-
you're able to, in another country, hire an attorney to go through the process, you are going to get through faster. If you come from a country like Saudi Arabia where they have money and they're getting their attorneys and they're going quickly, it's a wealth. There is a wealth disparity. So the people that need it, that may need it the most, that are coming from countries that are gang-ridden from violence, and all, have all these issues, they're not getting through. They can't hire
We
that
cannot say
attorney.
that every single country in Central America
Gets
is
to just
gang
come.
related
Yeah.
and infested with crime
Most
and everything.
are, though.
Are you
That's-
saying that
I'm saying-
half a
I'm
billion
saying-
people
I'm
are
saying-
having
I'm
issues?
saying El Salvador and Nicaragua and Honduras. I don't know so much about Guatemala. We know that those three countries countries.
And are
have
you saying?
massive
And you
gang
know what
rates.
countries they get to before they get to the United States?
Mexico.
Mexico.
And
So
Mexico
now are we
has a
saying that we
horrible-
cannot trust Mexico whatsoever?
We can't.
We
Mexico's
put
one of
pressure.
the most
We
corrupt
put
countries
pressure.
in the
We
world.
put
We know
pressure.
this.
We put pressure on Mexico for 2 minutes, and they close their southern border, which reduces entry into the United States even
And-
further.
That's good
And,
too,
and
but
I want to
we-
also
Because
point
then
out
we're
this-
pushing them to do what they
But
said they
then
were
we're
going to
leaving-
do.
But then we're leaving all the people in Central America that we're like pretty much saying we're turning around and closing our eyes to our
So
southern
then let's
neighbors.
open
You
up the
guys-
southern border
I'm
for
not
half a
saying-
billion people.
No, I'm not
That's
saying we
really
let them
that should
all in,
happen.
but if we were
Or
for-
we should have a larger military
Whoa,
presence in
whoa,
these
hold
countries,
on,
so
hold
then they
on.
can
What-
get themselves in
Well,
order.
why-
let-
but
let-
let me-
Whoa, what is your? I'm kind of confused. What it like? I under you're going back and forth with him. What is your stance? Like, what is it that you want?
I want to see a reformed immigration system.
Okay.
So, and I want to see a system that does allow for people who I would like to see that when you get to the southern border, if you want to apply for asylum there, you're able to apply that. So you don't, so it doesn't have to be this process where you need to be able to get through like from another country or the country you're at. If you literally feel like your life's in jeopardy and you can't wait, you should be able to go through, and we should be able to say,
But again,
okay,
it
you
goes
got
back to the
here.
whole loophole thing, though. I mean, we have to
we
have
need
to
to
fix.
deal with you, but we
have
should be able
fix
to deal with
problems
them when
or
they
else-
get there.
So there's a caveat to this because we assume that everyone that is running into our country and working the farms and pretty much doing the jobs that illegal immigrants typically pick up are here seeking asylum. You know, the fastest way to get Mexico to curb this illegal immigration is start taxing that money that these immigrants are sending back to their families in
It's all
Mexico.
about money.
Mexico will build that wall themselves so fast because these illegal immigrants are coming in here. They're not staying. When I say contribute to society, I mean these ones that are not working, that are working, and they're sending their money back to their family over here. Now, that's what I mean.
I think it was like 10 or 15% of the Mexican
Huge amount of
economy
money.
is
Yeah.
money coming
Yes,
from the United States back to
Exactly.
Mexico.
You start
That is
taxing.
true.
You start
Those people
taxing
have
them,
no
and
desire-
they're not going to stay. They're going to
Yeah.
save up money. They're going to live in third
And-
world
and-
trailers and out of farm somewhere.
It's not even,
saving money,
that.
sending
Those are the
money
people that
back.
have no desire to become citizens. They just want
Exactly.
to work
And-
and contribute
make
and
some
give
money and
money
get
and
out,
give
yeah.
back. And that's what I'm saying. We have been running on this system, and I do believe that the system is broken. We've been running on a system from the 1800s, and we're no longer in that
Yes.
world. We're no longer in a world that's where it needs to go. There are some things that need to be kept no matter what. The fact that we cannot secure our own southern border is ridiculous. The fact that we cannot tell who's coming in and who's coming out. We're the richest country in the world. We can't figure this out. It's absolutely ridiculous. And there's so many reasons why we need these people to register for them not to get taken advantage of.
I agree with that.
These upper class wives that have them as nannies and have them as house cleaners that are not paying them, that are abusing them. These are stories that we hear about all the time. And until these people get registered, that's never going to happen. Democrats don't want it to happen because they say that Trump wants to get them out of the country.
They think it's
But that's
you
the
know,
thing- that's the
it's
thing-
That's
really
my, that's
like
my
the
biggest issue with all of it. Is that
Holocaust.
like people like there's this fear that if we like count everybody here that there's going to be this mass deportation.
Yeah,
and
that
I don't,
it's
and I don't
gonna
think
end
that
up
I don't
that's
think
being
it's
not
going to
even-
be a
Nazi
mass
not even
deportation.
possible.
Yeah.
Logistically
Logistically,
impossible.
not
No, yeah,
impossible.
absolutely.
But and so like to your point, I mean, it's like we should, if we can at least get everybody in a system and say like, here's who's here, here's what the situation is. That's the first step.
But
It
the
really is.
hysteria of the left is always, again, they were telling people to have their passports with them so they could prove they're United citizens. That's it. That's mind-boggling. We're joking about this office
It's
serious.
serious.
Raided
It's-
by ICE, but at the end of the day, that's what they think. They think Trump and they think Republicans want to get everyone that has brown skin out of the country. That is furthest from the
It's- yeah.
truth.
It's a scare
And
tactic.
it's a
And
scare
so
tactic.
many people that have immigrated legally are supporters and they want to
Oh,
see
yeah.
people come in the right way, and when we talk about that voter base, that is our Republican voter base, right? It's the people that have done this legally. They've gone through the process, they've done it the right way, and so this process exists. There is a way to do it, and they're not all rich
And I'm gonna
people
plug.
that
I'm
have
gonna
done
I'm
it.
gonna take the time now because we're at an hour.
Yeah.
So I want to plug our week in a week on Tuesday the 23rd. We are gonna have a full conversation on Venezuela and the current situation
Yeah.
in Venezuela at our TBYR meeting. It's gonna be at La Teresita, which is everyone's favorite restaurant.
I
in
love the
Tampa.
accent.
I can't wait
love
for
the
it.
accent.
You love my
Absolutely
accent? That's my Miami
fantastic.
Spanish.
It was a good accent.
That's
yeah.
my
I
Miami
can't wait for
Spanish.
cafe con leche and plantain.
So
the Spanish
if
word?
anyone's watching and you want to come out and you want to take part in some of this type of discussion and you want to hear, we have got I don't have their names exactly or what organizations they're from. Maybe somebody can look that up while I'm talking. But we're gonna have a full panel
Norman
on.
Javier.
Norma and Javier.
Thank you.
will
That's,
be the
that's
individuals.
very descriptive.
Well, they'll be the ones
on
that will
who's
be
gonna
leading
talk
the
about Venezuela.
conversations. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're from Casa Venezuela.
Casa Venezuela. Okay. So we do have a full panel that's going to come and discuss the current ongoing situation in Venezuela. So this is the kind of conversation we do have at our meetings.
Yeah.
And if you want to get more involved with the group, if you want to come out and listen to a great conversation, I think, and have some great food and drinks and all that, come out Tuesday, next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. at La Teresita.
Yeah, the Hispanic vote is going to be. I can't wait for 2020. The Hispanic vote is going to be so large for the Trump administration for another 4 years. The black vote's going to be great. The minority votes are going to be big because there's almost like a white guilt I feel that's happening with a lot of liberals that they think that they need to speak for the minorities or they need to speak for the black or Hispanic people, and really that is pretentious and that's very insulting. That I find that it's disgusting what's happening with the far left. And I have a lot of friends that are Democrats and they're good people and they want to find solutions. And in the past it was we felt we could find a solution one way, they felt we could find a solution the other way. The whole point was we were looking for solutions, and now I feel that no one is looking for solutions now.
I agree with you. I do feel like it's just. I feel like the left is just like they're all trying to out woke each other right now. It's just like
there is a
who
woke
can be
Olympics
the
going on.
yeah. It's like who can be the most woke today, and it's like it's so irritating, and it's like half the time you feel like they're talking about like it's just like who can say like we're gonna give reparations. What can we give to you, and what can we give to you?
Yeah,
and it's
reparations
like, and
is
you
a
know
whole
it's
different
like,
thing.
and reparations are something that it's like you cannot. It's not feasible at this point in our country.
We've already done reparations.
Let them. Let them try to do reparations because that opens a bigger can of worms that no one realizes. Who is going to justify the DNA testing to require the lineage of that conversation? Also,
Who gets it?
who gets
How do we call
All of
it?
a sudden,
Who
you
gets it?
people signing up for registration.
Exactly.
Everyone's gonna be like, I got it.
Yeah, it gets even worse.
Heaven forbid we register illegal immigrants. It's like, but we want to DNA test every black American, like anyone with like really dark skin, be like, hey, maybe we'll give you something. It's like, no, it's like, and the same thing like you said.
I can assure you that no Jews will be getting reparations, by the way. We are an unrepresented group in the reparation stock.
What are you talking about? Half of California is you
Throw it out
guys.
there.
No,
Just throw it out there.
Jewish people got allowed into America, and they started being considered white after the Holocaust.
That sounds like
That's
sounds like
considered-
after slavery.
No, that's what we consider. No,
Sounds very similar. All I'm saying
got
is
the-
that
Wait.
if
You've allowed your
That's a lot different.
Kamala Harris
That's
wants to
what?
give all African Americans in this country
Jake-
their initial down payment on a home paid for. That's
you
the
know
most
what?
recent.
I'm going to be
Wait,
paying for
if-
people's
if-
home
That was the latest
No.
Kamala Harris
No,
plan.
And
Wait,
if
wait,
Joe
wait.
Biden is elected, he's going to cure cancer. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You don't forget that.
Well, I don't.
Also, you've allowed your people to get enslaved twice.
that don't.
allowed.
you just
You
said
were
that.
I can't.
Is that
You were gonna get tossed out
I
of the
can't even believe.
Yeah, that's-
Okay,
you
and
guys marched out of Jerusalem and
Jake-
everything?
Jake, I just want to say your statements are why Louis Farrakhan's going to come after you. Just saying that.
Well, because-
He's coming after you on that.
because we are a
Let
group
my
of people who are not
people
gonna
go.
All right.
We are never gonna. But seriously, like if you're talking about reparations and stuff, it's like I want my down payment on my house paid for. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not paying for the
Okay.
down payment on your house.
You know what? We're gonna have a conversation about. It.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is.
But that's the conversation.
They'll vote
You
someone
want
that's doing
someone,
by
you want
force
reparations?
to
I'm not
government.
paying for reparations.
And I want my student loans paid for.
Who made that
I want those
decision?
paid for too.
It doesn't matter.
But
It
not
doesn't
from
matter.
my
It
tax
doesn't
dollars.
matter.
Not my tax
As
dollars.
Jake's fiance, I would like his down payment on his house. If you would like to donate to Michelle and Jake's house fund, yeah, if you want to keep me from being poor and homeless, yeah, set up a GoFundMe
The
page.
fact that you do that with your hair means you're not in that boat to begin with.
All right, we are.
What kind of
we
shoe
got
you
it,
get?
we got
Do we have a
it,
shoe
and
game
now-
yet?
Happy birthday, Tampa.
Oh yeah,
Happy birthday, Tampa.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
happy birthday.
The city of Tampa turns 132 today, so happy birthday, Tampa. We are all very grateful to live here. It's a great city.
It's a
so
great
we're very
city.
happy
We
about it.
love the
Thank
people
you.
here, and it's always the food is great.
Food is
Yeah.
outstanding
It's good.
here.
It's
Really
good.
is.
We just
Really
traveled
is.
around like a good chunk of the Northeast, and really Tampa's
Yeah.
No place
back
like
here.
home.
Yeah,
So,
you're like, man.
again, with that statement, I'm not paying for your student loans. Right there.
It's all about
All right.
the
Does
South.
anybody have any final statements?
It was working.
Any final statements or anything to go on?
No final statement.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Our guests
Thanks
for coming
It was
today.
No, it was great.
Michelle.
If you're looking to get more involved with the podcast with Tampa Young Republicans, come out to our meeting Tuesday at 6:30 at La Teresita. And tune in next week where we will maybe start at 7, maybe 7:30.
And we'll see everyone at Area 51.
And we'll see everybody.
Area
at
51,
Get your-
that's
We're
right.
planning our trips there, guys.
That's in.
You can get that sponsored.
That would be fun.
I can't.